Hello, everyone. I'm Dijon,
I'm Ayera.
And I'm Christian.
and welcome to the Mustardcast, the podcast about the art of storytelling and how it's used across different mediums. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see our channel grow, and to click the notification bell so that you're notified when we post. Free Palestine and every other country going through injustice right now, including us. Free us. Free us from this president.
From
God.
the tyranny that we live under.
Christian, what have you been watching in terms of animation?
In terms of animation, it's mainly just been a lot of shorts, like a lot of short form stuff. Also, like with teaching screenwriting, it's given me the opportunity to just get involved with animated storytelling a bit more. So,
I can't hear get involved without thinking about Ryan Coogler. You
I
know,
got involved with that.
I had to get
Got
involved
involved
with
with that.
that.
Exactly. I had to get involved with that. Yeah. So yeah, just mainly been looking for animated scripts to show the kids. Um, yeah, for the most part, I honestly kind of need to get my animation watching habits up because I've been completely out of the game in regards to anime for the most part. But yeah, it's mainly just been like the classic Disney Warner Brothers stuff. Like Iron Giant is on my list right now. It's something that I want to watch. Um, and also, yeah, just a lot of weird specific cartoons. Um, and yeah, for the most part, that's really been it.
Cool.
Yeah.
How about you, Ann?
For me, it's also been relatively light. I watched, in air quotes, Zootopia 2 yesterday with my siblings, which, that went as about as well as you can expect. I couldn't tell you a single plot point from that movie. I swear I couldn't. But I did watch it. I did put my eyeballs on it, and I guess it was good. They seem to like it. Let me think. Yeah, I really don't have anything. I've been watching a lot more live action TV lately, which is very unusual for me.
Have you not caught up on Stampede?
I have not.
Unfortunate.
I know. I need to. It's just every time I want to watch it, I just get filled with this dread.
I never feel like watching it either. I didn't watch last Saturday's episode until Friday.
Me neither. And it's like especially because these arcs that they're covering are my favorite arcs in Trimax. It's just like I don't even want to see them fuck it up. I just don't. After the shit show that was like episodes 8 and 9, I think, are the most recent ones I've watched. Either 7 and 8 and 8 and 9. After that shit show, I'm like, I don't even. There's nothing left for me to see. But I will catch up at some point.
Yes,
As is my.
episode 8 was Wolfwood versus Roslo. Have you seen that?
I have seen that.
Okay,
yes.
we'll talk
And
about that
I was
then.
so disappointed.
We'll talk about that.
Okay.
But yeah, for me, still watching Just League, the animated series, Batman Beyond, and One Piece alongside Blind Wave. Blind Wave are reaction YouTubers. Who I subscribe to their Patreon, watch full length. So I sync up the video with them and watch it alongside them. It's pretty fun. But I'm also doing my own personal rewatch of Batman Beyond alongside that. And I got 2 episodes left, and I'm gonna watch those 2 episodes. Love One Piece. Been rewatching that like an insane person, Christian. I'm watching 1 episode a week. And I'm on episode 63. Well, I watched episode 63 yesterday. So I'm on episode 64, and it's the beginning of the Alabasta arc, which is really fun. Just getting back into One Piece. I'm also reading it, but I'll talk more about that later. Jujutsu Kaisen, man. Jujutsu Kaisen. Christian, have you seen Jujutsu Kaisen?
I've saw the first season and the first arc of the second season, but other than that, I am behind.
You gotta catch up, man. I think you'll like season 3 especially. I feel like
Okay.
season 3, everything's been elevated. Everything already has been really good, but season 3, I feel like is elevated, specifically, especially the visuals and really just everything. Actually, the storytelling, the visuals, everything. And I feel like the anime in general elevates the story of the manga. I like the manga; it's good. Sometimes visually, it can be confusing. Like it has a good art style. The writer and artist, they're good at their job, but it just sometimes it can be visually confusing. It's a lot more clear in the anime, but something I think you really like is how much you can see the influence of live action film in the shot composition in the show. and how much they do rotoscoping for the slower moments. And even some of the action scenes, they do a bit of rotoscoping for the fight scenes. But like the slower moments where it's just people, like there's a character in this season that's a lawyer. And just the scenes of him in his office talking to his assistant is very clearly just them, rotoscoping actual person, a person's movements. And in the flashbacks specifically, they changed the aspect ratio to be like a movie with the bars at the top and bottom. And it's just beautifully, I want to say beautifully shot, but it's not shot, it's animated. It looks great. And the action, there's a fight scene in the episode before last that is probably the best fight scene in the season so far, which has already had some great fight scenes. Ooh, now I'm thinking about it.
You said that about every fight
I was just going to say, I'm remembering now there was an episode that was just a fight scene. Never mind, that was the best fight scene, but this is a close second. But
Okay.
I do say that about every fight scene because every fight scene is so goddamn good. These guys are just great. It's awesome. You should definitely check it out.
Okay.
But I'm also lastly, I'm watching Beastars, the final season, part 2, which I hate that this is a thing. Attack on Titan did the same bullshit where they call it, final season part 1, 2, 3, whatever. And it's like, brother, just call the actual final season the final season and just call these regular seasons. Because every season of Beastars so far has been like 13, 12 episodes. Now this one's 26 because they decided to combine 2 seasons. Just make them separate seasons. You didn't have to call it final season part 1, part 2. It's just season 3 and the final season.
But then it doesn't generate as much hype. They're trying to make that dollar.
This didn't generate hype anyway because they unceremoniously dropped it. No lead up. There was no lead up to this. It just happened. And because of that, I only had time to watch 1 episode. I like Beastars. I'm excited to finish it. But like there was just no build up to it. So that like I don't have hype for it, not because I dislike it, but because there was none built. I would have wanted to watch the last season before this, but I just didn't have time now. And I don't even feel like doing it anymore. Like if I knew when it was coming, I would have done it. But now I just don't have the time. But I'm enjoying it though. It's still good. The OP unfortunately kind of sucks. Especially when the first one and the third one are so good. But this one sucks so bad. And the ED is good though. I like the ending, but the opening song is kind of lame. But yeah, that's all I got in terms of what I've been watching. I guess talking about Trigun Stampede. We're gonna talk spoilers. Do you care about spoilers for Trigun Stampede, Christian?
I know I'm all good.
Okay, so in episode 7, we did get some great moments, I think, in these episodes, especially in episode 7, where we get a moment between Vash and Knives, where Vash explains his convictions, and it puts his love of life on display and shows the hypocrisy of Knives, because his actions 150 years before the story's taking place are the reason that the plants are being exploited even worse than they were before, and the moments of Mid-Valley and Emilio playing with the children, teaching them music and doing puppet shows, did make me go like, I like that. That makes keeping them alive a little bit worth it. But in the episode after that, we got the Wolfwood versus Razlo fight, which was one of the more 1-to-1 moments in comparison to everything else in the show. It's not 100% 1-to-1, but it's closer to what happened in the manga than literally everything else so far.
Fair.
But remind me, again, major spoiler alert, not just for Christian, but for people who are watching this and haven't read the manga or watched the original.
Just for the
was this the moment that was this when Wolfwood died?
Yes.
Okay.
Right now
I thought so.
Are up to episode 7 and 8. We are at volume 10 in the manga. So and
I'm mad now.
So
because I couldn't remember, and I was gonna look it up, but I was like, oh, I'll just ask Gay. But then you didn't watch it, so I had to wait a couple weeks. But now I know, and now I'm upset because I was like, I know Wolfwood dies. I know I haven't read all of Maximum. I read 12 issues and there's 14. So I still need to read those last 2 eventually.
You should. They're really good.
But I gotta get back into my reread, which Loki, I'm about to just start from the beginning. But
that would be a good idea because Trigun goes by pretty fast.
Yeah, and and I was like, I remember how he died. It was very impactful. Him sitting on the couch
and
with Vash drinking. Bruh.
That whole 2-page spread, and Honestly, you say that the fight was a little closer to the manga than everything else we've got so far, and I will give you that. However, right, I me personally, Volume 10 is my favorite volume of the manga for many, many reasons. But Volume 10 is my favorite, so I was really excited for them to get to this arc. And they missed out on so many like moments between Vash and Wolfwood and Raslo that are like tantamount to characterization later on down the line. And I don't know how they're going to pull it off, but like there's a specific thing that they skipped that really really pissed me off where at first Wolfwood is fighting solo, but the fight is unfair not just because he's fighting against Raslo, but because Chapel, their master, is also interfering. And so like that makes Vash's like, you know, what do you call it? I can't think of the word that I'm looking for, but it makes Vash intervening. It makes Vash intervening more powerful because it's like at this point, you know, Wolfwood has so much to lose, and so like they kind of switch philosophies for the Raslo fight, and that didn't happen here. Vash didn't even get a chance to put hands on him, and I was kind of pissed about that because in the manga he's putting belt to ass, and it made me sad because like that it was so cool getting to see Vash actually put belt to ass for once. Alas.
Yeah. And we didn't get as much of Wolfwood and Raslo's backstory as we did in the manga. And that's just the biggest problem that we have with this adaptation of Trigun, Christian, is that because they're shoving it into 2 12-episode seasons, they are skipping so much.
Everything.
Okay.
And not only are they're skipping, because they're skipping so much, they're skipping a lot of like not just character moments, but low-key just straight up removing very important aspects of characters for the sake of making time. Like,
Okay.
Vash is this character who is very goofy. He is not as goofy as he should be in this.
At all. And even at this point in Maximum, like, he's still got a little bit of goofiness to him. The spirit hasn't been beaten out of him yet. And also, I think what really pissed me off about episode 8 is that it's like Volume 10 is really when the black hair thing starts to become like super relevant in the manga. And they there's this time where it's like, or there's this moment where Vash jumps from being half black, half blonde to like having only about a streak of blonde left because of the events of Volume 10. They skipped that completely. And I'm like, okay, so what's the point of having the blackening hair if it's not relevant?
They do touch on that in the next episode.
That's good.
But yeah, it's just they cut an unfortunate amount of stuff, and the story's weaker as a result. Like if you've never read the manga or watched the original, you wouldn't notice. But if you have, you see everything that they're skipping, and you realize like they're just missing such substantial parts of these characters and their arcs. And yeah, and they refuse to kill characters in the manga. A lot of characters die. So far, none of them have died. Every single character that dies in the manga is alive here, and I don't like it.
Also, it's very ironic that they've given Stargaze the tagline "Live and Suffer," right? Because that is directly from the manga. That's what when Vash kills Hopper in the proper arc in the manga. That's what he tells him. It's like, your job isn't to die. Your job is to live and suffer and watch the people die around you. And they try to play that up here in Stargaze, but it doesn't come across because they don't kill anybody.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because we've been getting we've been getting a lot more comments, and somebody pointed out, like in response to someone else's comment, under I think it was the cutout section of the anime portion from last episode about what's his name, the psychic dude. I'm forgetting his name. Legato. Yes. Vash kills Legato.
Yes.
And that's a moment of him being forced to do something he doesn't want to do. And the episode 10 will seemingly be that fight, and we'll see if they got the guts to let it happen, and they don't.
They better not let Legato live. If the 1998 version of Trigun can kill Legato when Legato hadn't even been killed in the manga yet, Stargaze better not leave him alive. That's all I gotta say about that.
Is
It's bleak
it's
because
unfortunate.
it's like Legato's death is like tantamount to like Vash actually, finishing the damn thing and being able to like have the strength to beat knives, and it's so frustrating.
And
It's
even
so frustrating.
even with the changes that they're making,
Hmm.
if Wolfwood died, um, not killing Raslo, it would have been more impactful for him to
Right.
die holding up Vash's ideals.
Exactly.
But
Because
yeah,
that's honestly what happens in Volume 10.
yeah, it's just they just refuse to kill characters. It's like they're like, oh, it'll be too sad. And it's like, yeah, it's a
That's the
story.
point.
Make me feel things. I
Right.
don't feel anything but contempt.
Mm. Also, can we talk about how Ellen Dyra is still a child? Why? Ellen Dyra is the little girl with the two-tone eyes that summons the nails. In the manga, she's a trans woman, an adult trans woman. And they showed us concept art of like her as an adult this season, when they were like still teasing it, and she still has yet to not be a child. And so we've missed out on a whole bunch of great moments with her too, which is really frustrating because her and Vash were supposed to have a confrontation on the arc, and then her and Livio are supposed to have a fight at some point this season. So I don't know how they're gonna make that work, but probably not very good.
Yeah, and I wonder if they're still going to have the romance between Vash and Meryl,
Meryl.
where like it's kind of like this one-sided crush that she has on Vash, or if
Mhm.
they're just gonna cut that. They're probably just gonna cut
If
that
I
out.
don't get my fist bump kiss, I'm going to riot.
But
I lose my motherfucking mind. That's one of my favorite panels in the manga. If I don't get it, I'm gonna be upset.
they love cutting stuff for time, so we're
Love
probably not
cutting
gonna get
stuff
it.
for time. I'm just bracing myself for it.
All right. Well, moving on to comics and books in general. You've been reading anything, Christian?
I have. Main book that I've been reading right now for the time being is Men Without Women. It's a book by Haruki. Well, actually, yeah, let me see. Yeah, it's a book by Haruki Murakami. Um, always wanted to dig into his writing more. When I was in high school, we read one of his short story books, but I also feel as though academia has burned any want for me to read things. So I've been just trying to reclaim that. And yeah, the name of the book is Men Without Women, and it's a collection of short stories of just men overall, just kind of struggling with intimacy, struggling with connection in different ways or in different shapes or forms, like across different ages, different jobs, different positions. And it's just stories about men kind of dealing with loneliness, like just very good fictional, very, I'd say just very kind of funny, very witty stories of men without women. So um
Ooh.
that's been on my reading list, and I thought it's been very good, like very good, just great existential comedic observational writing. Um
I've
and
been
another,
meaning to check out his work. Would you say that's a good place to start? You think?
I feel like that would be a good place to start. Yeah.
Okay,
Um
noted.
yeah, I feel like his short stories, they're so bite-sized and so quick and like pick up and go. That is a good way to understand his style and
Gotcha,
just
gotcha, gotcha.
yeah, it's a good way to ease in.
Bet. Because I was at the bookstore the other day and I saw 1984 by him and I was gonna get it, but I was like, everyone says that one's super dense,
Yeah,
and I didn't know what else to start with. So I was
yeah.
like, maybe next time.
Yeah, I was scared. That book is like world book sized. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, yeah, short stories for sure with him. Um,
Mm.
other than that, still in my reading list, I wanna finish Asada. Like I got through a good chunk of it. Asada Shakira's passing really just propelled me to just get over the hump and just read this book. Like get I have a library card. I just wanted to read it and just read about her story because it's just it's just very interesting about how hard she loved. Like she really loved and cared about people and cared about black folks, like so intention, like just with so much intention. And you can see that in every word and in every page. Um, and the fact that she had to act like flee the way that she had to, it just her story was so just I feel like her story is the gateway to just really just understanding revolutionary praxis and how we, the revolution is love. And in the words of James Baldwin, is like love has never been a popular movement. So love is the revolution. Like love, to be loving is to be subversive. And I feel like her writing, her poetry, it just really captures that feeling very well. And I feel like it's very necessary. I mean, it's always going to be necessary, but now it just really is. It's been a good read. So, those are the two things that have been in my reading list for the most part.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
you've heard me. I mean, me and A talk about it a lot, but
Mhm.
I'm sure Chris, you've heard me talk about how like you talk about that, and I always everything in my mind always relates back to comic books because I love me some comic books. Um,
Mhm.
and the power of love is just something that is very central to like Wonder Woman and
Mhm.
everything she stands for. And everything you just described is exactly the same type of stuff Wonder Woman stands for. And it's why they hold her back because they know she has the power to change the world. If they
Mhm.
just told stories about this person who goes around changing the world through love, you think they want that? Of course they don't. A woman of all people, too? Of course not.
Right.
A woman from
Yeah.
who was raised by only women, birthed
Of
from
course not. It's
only a woman,
preposterous.
Right.
they can't let that happen.
Woke nonsense.
But yeah, how about you, A?
I've been more into physical books. This is my year to get into physical books. I went to the bookstore for my birthday. I went to Books a Million out in Arundel because I love that store. Shout out to the Millionaires Club. So I bought a couple things. I was looking for 4 books. I only found 3 of the 4 that I was looking for. So I picked up Starving Saints by it's like hold on. I have it in a note doc. I have a notes document on my phone of all the books I want to read this year. And have been using that to cross-reference every time I go to the store. So Caitlin Starling, The Starving Saints, I picked that up. I haven't started reading it yet, but Naja, one of our coworkers, has
Yeah.
recommended it to me up and down. So I'm really excited for that. I also picked up really nice editions of The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. So I have an illustrated hardcover copy of The Hobbit that I've been reading through. I'm like halfway through it now. And I forgot how much I love that book because the last time I read it was in the 3rd grade. And so that's been really nice, like going through it with under an adult lens and like understanding it a lot better, especially like Bilbo's perspective on the adventure. And it's like, I don't want to do this, but I kind of have to, you know, and like how despite the strength of the call to adventure, how like a lot of people that are called on these like great journeys and quests and stuff are normal people that live very normal lives and are pulled from their like very normal lives. It's very interesting. And then I have an illustrated edition of Lord of the Rings where it's the entire series in one book. That thing is heavy. And once I finish The Hobbit, I'm going to move on to that, which is really exciting because I forgot how much I enjoyed Tolkien's prose. And it really makes me want to get into my writing bag a lot more. But then also it makes me feel better because I feel like I use too many commas when I write. Listen, however many commas I use when I write, Tolkien uses 10,000 more. It's kind of crazy.
Gotta mix it up. Gotta throw in some semicolons.
Right, some semicolons, a little M dash every once in a while. You know, so it makes me feel a lot better about that. And The Hobbit's been a joy to read back through. Next on my docket to read is Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata. They didn't have any copies at Books a Million, so I have to look somewhere else, which is unfortunate, but it's on my list. And then in terms of comics, a little bit of Absolute Green Lantern, just a little bit. I did read the chapter you tell me to read very briefly. I don't remember anything from it because it was a couple days ago, but now it's making me want to go back to the beginning and read it from the top. So you were right.
Well, here's the thing.
Here's the thing.
I plan on making some somewhat significant changes to the podcast that we'll talk about later. And because of that, instead of jumping straight into Witch Hat, like I said, instead, we're going to read the first 8 issues.
Ooh, that.
Of that.
Okay.
I'm going to reread it. You don't have to reread it. You could just pick up where you left off. But I'm going to go through it just to refresh my memory. But yeah.
A refresh would be good for me. What else have I been reading manga-wise? A little bit more Claymore, not much. Witch Hat Atelier updated, but I haven't gotten around to reading that yet. But I've heard it's tragic. Shadow's House has been very steadily updating, but it's been getting kind of like crazy in a way that I don't think I enjoy. Like, it's crazy sad, and I'm like, I trust that it's gonna go somewhere, but on the same token, I'm a little nervous. Other than that, though, I think that's it. I've been mostly reading like actual books rather than manga.
Cool. Any progress on tomorrow?
A little bit. It's been slow going. I've had to take like breaks from it. I don't know why, because I'm really, really enjoying it. But it's like I'll read a whole bunch and then forget and have to go back. Because I unfortunately am one of those people who can't read one book at a time. I have to be reading at least 3. And so it's a little chaotic, but you know, I think once I finish The Hobbit, I'm really going to sit down and finish tomorrow before I move on to Lord of the Rings, because that's going to take me like actual months. So once I get like actual progress in that book, I will be talking about it. Trust.
Yeah, when it comes to novels, no graphic, I have to read one at a time. And yeah, I need to finish. Well, let me just get into it. I'm still reading Song Achilles. Been reading other stuff at night instead of that, so I haven't been reading that. But I need to finish that so I can hop into the last book in the Mistborn trilogy. And then after that, I'm gonna hop back into the second book of the Poppy Wars trilogy. And then after that, I want to finish the Witcher book that I've been putting off for so long. In terms of manga, still reading One Punch Man. Read the latest issue of that, and the latest issue of Chojin X and Kagurabachi. Let me tell you something, man. Kagurabachi. The memes, I keep saying it every episode. The memes were right. It is awesome. I can't wait till this gets animated. Kagurabachi's so good, and like part 1 of the story ended, and it's on part 2, and it's exciting where the story's going. Still catching up on JoJo part 6, so I can catch up to where I left off the anime, so I can watch that. At this rate, I'm gonna just watch part 7 before I finish part 6. But there's I don't want to spoil it, but like you can do that without spoiling yourself, basically.
You definitely can.
For reasons that I know, because I kind of know what happens at the end of the story already, like from years ago before I even started watching JoJo. But
yeah, same. That's like one of the spoilers I got.
But yeah, enjoying rereading it, because I did most of what I've read so far. I've read before, because I started at one point reading part 6 after I finished the anime as it was before part 6 came out. But then when I like stopped reading it, and then the anime came out before I finished reading it. And Chainsaw Man, 1 chapter left. This arc has been, there's a reason why you stopped reading it. It's been like wishy-washy. And it's about time it ends, if I'm being honest. Because we know.
Wait, like 1 chapter left, period?
I don't know if it's period, but at least in this arc.
Oh shit! Maybe I have to catch up now.
But like Fujimoto, we know Fujimoto has got that dog in him.
Of course.
When they, their short stories are always awesome, but it feels like Chainsaw Man has just gone on for too long, and they need to just end it. But in terms of comics, some of the physical comics I got, all Marvel comics. Well, that I read recently. I did also have some DC comics I bought physically. But I read Ultimates issues number 19 and 20. Issue number 20 was a great example of how Dennis Camp is not subtle whatsoever when it comes to his political views. Because Dennis Camp's the writer of Absolute Martian Manhunter, and the Ultimates is about revolution. It is about a world where the maker, evil version of Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, has molded a universe to suit his needs and become dictator, and he's like made it to where certain heroes never become heroes or they die, and like or they become villains, and you know certain villains are leaders of the world and work under him. And the Ultimates, which is that the Ultimate Universe's version of the Avengers, are working behind the scenes to start a revolution, and that revolution has properly started now, and people across the world are rising up. And I'm really digging deep into that in these last few issues because it's ending with 24. And
Oh
then
wow.
in issue 20, the Human Torch, not Johnny Storm, but the original Human Torch from the 40s, who's an android, he becomes the Vision. And he is sent back in time to essentially try and, without altering the moments that lead up to the current time, he has to also try and secretly build up a network that they can use in the current time. Um,
Oh yeah,
and
no
and
pressure.
part of how he did it was very cool, where he essentially they connect his existence as a machine to the downfall of Detroit's engineering culture due to systemic racism, and he secretly kind of brings all of the black engineers in Detroit together to secretly build a war machine. And of course, one of the people they highlight is the ultimate version of James Rhodes' War Machine. And they build this giant
That's
robot that they call War
crazy.
Machine to fight back against the Maker's forces. It's awesome. The Ultimates
That
is
sounds
easily the
awesome.
best of the Ultimate Universe books. I think it's a book you would enjoy a lot, Chris. Uh, also reading Ultimate Wolverine, read 1314. It's crazy how much better the story got, because it was like started good, then it got and now it's pretty good again as it gets towards its end, because this is ending at number 60. It's sad to see the Ultimate Universe go away as a whole, especially as we watch the Absolute Universe on the DC side of things flourish the way that it is. Even though Martian Manhunter is ending, you see how great that is. You've read Wonder Woman, you read Batman. It's awesome.
It is.
And we're only getting more books. We're about to get Absolute Green Arrow and Absolute Catwoman.
I'm excited for Absolute Catwoman. I
Yeah.
really am.
And yeah, it's sad to see it go. Like Marvel really messed up deciding to cancel this. It was unfortunate. Also read Ultimate Endgame #2, which is a culmination of all these different stories. I read Ultimate Black Panther #22, Ultimate X-Men #21, and I read Planet She-Hulk #1, which is written by our Black Queen Stephanie Phillips, and Daredevil #25, the final issue before. Stephanie Williams is our Black Queen who's writing Planet She-Hulk. Stephanie Phillips is taking over from Saladin Ahmed in Daredevil after issue 25, and I'll start reading it physically. I have enjoyed Saladin Ahmed's run more than most, and I think that people have judged it too harshly because it came after what is going to go down as one of the all-time greatest comic books, period, in Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil run. It's just, you can't compare. It's just unfortunate how good that book was. And we also read, moving on to the DC comics I've been reading. I read Batgirl #16, Absolute Superman #16, Absolute Green Lantern #11, Absolute Flash #11, Just League Red #6, which was the final issue, but there might be more, or something from these characters coming in future. Nightwing #134, Just League #15, which is their Year 1 story, Part 4. Just League Unlimited 1450, Superman Chains of Love special, Absolute Wonder Woman Annual, which is the return of Mattia DeLulis, who drew the last 2 issues that we read for this annual. And you could read this annual.
Wait, does that mean more Little Diana?
No.
Oh, dang.
But I think you can definitely read this without reading anything else. It's
But I want to
standalone,
read the rest.
and it is the story of her kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know what the word I'm looking for. I'm just gonna say, like, trying to like pray to Athena to allow her to undo Medusa's punishment after experiencing what Medusa's like. When she transformed to her, she feels the pain and is like, I want to undo the mistake you made, Athena. And this is where we get Athena for the first time in this universe, and we see she looks awesome. Wait till you see Athena.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
It's good.
Athena's always been one of my favorite Greek goddesses.
Yeah, she looks awesome in this.
But
We had what else? And the last one is just Supergirl numbers 8, 9, and 11. I was gonna drop it, but then I decided to pick back up and read those 3
I was
issues.
saying, what made you skip 10?
Oh, what? What? Oh, I guess it was 8, 9, 10. I think I just read 11 by
I was
mistake.
saying, you said 8, 9, and 11. I was
That's
like,
crazy.
damn, 10 must have been terrible.
I just skipped 10 was ass. I just skipped 10. Nah, I meant to say that. Yeah, it was good. I dropped it at one point. Then I picked back up. It's a good book. Don't remember why I dropped it. But yeah, moving on to a little bit of news and comics. Speaking of our Black Queen, Stephanie Williams made a post all but confirming that she's writing a Vixen book.
Ooh,
Um,
yay!
And
Wait, what?
the Dakota incident got a second printing. So let me explain what's going on. So DC is doing this thing called Next Level after their big DCKO crossover, where they specifically are having, creatives come to them with stories that they want to write. It doesn't have to be a popular character. It just has to be something that they want to write and that they're passionate about. And they pitch it, whoever they're pitching it to, if they like it, it goes out. And we've seen those books, or the ones so far that we know about. We know the ones that are coming. We know the 3 that are coming first are, there's a Lobo book, there's a Deathstroke book, and my personal favorite one I'm most excited for is Batwoman, and it's being written by Greg Rucka. Greg Rucka wrote Batwoman back in 2011, and Batwoman Volume 1 Elegy is one of my favorite comics of all time, so I'm excited for him to be coming back to Batwoman. But there's other books that are also coming. There's like a Firestorm book. Satana's coming back again with the ongoing, which I'm excited for. Which is being written by a Black man. I'm forgetting his name at the moment, but his art, he's writing and drawing. His art and writing is awesome on that character because he wrote the last comic that was canceled, but now it's coming back. So yeah, it's cool. So we've got some Black creatives, but we don't have any stories about Black people. That's the problem. And Stephanie Williams has been very vocal about the fact that she wants to tell a Vixen story. Luckily, one of the people that is kind of like currently hitting up DC at the moment, this is a relatively newer thing because of the Absolute Universe, is Scott Snyder. Scott Snyder wrote New 52 Batman, and he created the Absolute Universe, and he's writing Absolute Batman. So he's got a lot more pull in DC right now, and he is in a high position at the moment. And he heard everybody on Twitter and various different social platforms being like, "Where are the Black books?" And he went back and he made some change. And now both Stephanie Williams and Nicholas Draper-Ivey, who wrote and drew the last Static series, posted on Twitter saying, "New History of DC Universe Dakota Incident is number one is getting a second printing. Huge thanks to everyone that showed up and supported me. We see you." And in parentheses, "and between you and me, they're listening," with a winky face emoji at the end. And in the Threads post that Stephanie Williams made, she said, "Trust me, DC Comics heard y'all loud and clear," with a video of Whitney Houston saying the intensity, the prayers going up. I just feel like this is the moment. And yeah, all of it is pointing towards we're getting that Stephanie Williams Vixen book, which Vixen, of course, being one of DC's first Black woman heroes. And we're probably about to get a new Static book. For those of you who are hearing Static and thinking Static Shock, yes, that's not his name though. His name is just Static. It's never been Static Shock. That's just the name of the cartoon. I'm gonna be so happy when we finally get a Static movie and they just call it Static, because I promise you they're just gonna call it Static and everybody's gonna be so confused. They're gonna know it's him, but they're initially gonna be like, "Where's the Shock? It's not his name." But yeah, this is good. And I bought this book. I just haven't gonna go pick it up yet. I'm actually gonna go pick it up next Wednesday. But I'm also about to get this second printing because let me send you the cover actually. Because let me tell you something. A book is doing good. Oh, I should also mention another wrinkle to this is that DC was barely promoting this book, which this book that I'm talking about, the New History of DC Universe, the Dakota Incident, is them tying in the Milestone Comics characters, which I think me and you have talked about Milestone before. Milestone isn't owned by DC. It has Static, Icon, Rocket. Static is the one that everybody knows, but there's a whole universe of people of character, superheroes that was started by Black people and is owned by Black people. It's not owned by DC, but they work alongside DC, and they have at one point in time was integrated with DC, and it seems like they're trying to do that integration again. And this comic, which is a line of comics that is kind of retelling the history of the DC to try and make it all make sense again, is now this specific comic is about making those characters fit within the DC universe. they weren't really promoting this book very much. But the people writing it, the people drawing it, they promoted it. It did gangbusters, and now they're printing it again. And it's getting a cover from Dan Mora, who is essentially DC's like go-to artist for everything, and probably easily one of the best like comic book artists in the business right now. And,
No shit.
and I love his art so much. Every character he draws is essentially the best version of that character you'll ever see. And let me tell you, the cover is a clue. The cover is a clue as to what's going to happen as a result of this.
Oh yeah, I see.
They're for sure about to make that static book, and I'm excited.
Sure.
I said it maybe not last episode, but maybe the episode before that. At the very least, if we don't get books for the other characters from the Milestone universe as well, hopefully they are featured heavily in the static book.
Static book, yeah.
But yeah,
I haven't seen him in so long. It's like looking at an old friend.
Yeah. I'm very excited to see where this is going. I'm so excited for Vixen. Vixen is a character who's been very prominently on the Justice League and has been like the main black woman on the Justice League for a very long time. And just the premier black woman DC superhero in general. So to see her potentially finally getting her a solo series that hopefully, and probably will, because people are going to show up. I'm definitely going to buy this book physically.
Oh yeah, same. I might too.
I think I might.
Yeah.
After getting that glimpse of her in
Just League Unlimited?
I always forget the name. No, the book we read where it was more prose than it was actual comic. I always forget the name because it's so long.
We read another book I think you would like, Christian, The Other History of the DC Universe, which was written by John Ridley. And it is the John Ridley you're thinking of.
I was about to say that John Ridley.
Yes, that John Ridley. 12 Years a Slave John Ridley. And it's real good. That
you can tell.
And you can definitely tell. You for better or for worse, you can tell. And yeah, Vixen is featured in that because it's telling the history of. There are 5 issues about different characters of color in the DC universe, but the first issue is about Black Lightning. And it's told from essentially damn near basically when the character debuted in the comics in real life till like I think the late 90s. And yeah, Vixen is featured in that.
And I want to learn more about her.
But also, yeah, you watch Just League Unlimited, and she plays a big part in that. Yeah, this is exciting. I'm gonna be so glad when we finally see something. But they're teasing it too heavy for it to not be a thing. Moving on to the book club.
Yes.
We're finishing up reading the first volume of Absolute Martian Manhunter. Written by Dennis Camp, drawn by Javier Rodriguez, letters by Hassan Atmane Alha, cover by Rodriguez, and edited by Katie Kubert. Some synopsis of issues 4, 5, and 6. For issue 4, it's a heat wave in Middleton, as tempers and temperatures run hot all over the city. In the white-hot heat, normally minor conflicts between neighbors turn deadly, as at the drop of a hat. Can John Jones and the Martian cool things down before Middleton erupts into chaos? In issue number 5, an attack on Middleton's power stations. A citywide blackout, as night falls, dark sides are unleashed. It's John Jones and the Martian against a city full of psychopaths, and the one behind it all. And in issue number 6, ideas explode like atom bombs, minds melt, and colors clash in the darkness behind the eyes of every person on the planet. It's Green Martian versus White Martian, John Jones versus madness itself as he fights to save his family and the world. If you want to just look, or you could also just look in the comic section of the Discord, and you just want to see the art, Christian, because I was going to do this part because me and A have already talked about it, but if you want to just if you want to give your opinion on just first looks at the art and what you think, if you just scroll up, you'll see some panels we put in there.
Whoa, just from wow, it's like golden age stuff, but
yeah, it's very flat colors,
isn't it?
Yeah,
I love flat coloring. Is my favorite style of coloring in comics.
Me too.
Like,
Me too.
I don't care for super detailed coloring too much. I don't hate it, but like, we've read comics with it and they'll look good. But like the flat coloring is always best. Like,
it's so charming.
Supergirl One of Tomorrow mostly had flat coloring.
Yeah.
This is wow.
I find that like comic artists or comic artists that like lean more towards flat colors do a lot more with their color, and I like the books that are colored very flatly tend to be more colorful or use their color in a more meaningful way. Because again, Supergirl, Women of Tomorrow, this honestly, I would argue that Absolute Wonder Woman has some pretty flat coloring at times.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the art in this book is awesome. Javier Rodriguez.
Is the entire book like this?
Oh yeah, the entire
This
book.
is incredible.
It's very psychedelic because Martian Manhunter, one of his main powers is telepathy, and they lean very heavily into that. And the Martian in this comic isn't a Martian that came to Earth and is disguised as a detective like it is in the comics, the main universe. In this one, it's a FBI agent who's being like possessed almost by this other dimensional being that isn't a Martian but calls itself a Martian because it can't find any other word to describe what it is to the human mind. Like, it's so incomprehensible that it just says, I'm a Martian. You won't understand what I am other than that.
Which I think is really fun.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, each of these frames could be framed.
So, starting with issue number 4, it begins with a mysterious, shadowy figure with a white circle for a head, removing its head and placing it in the sky of Middleton, where the people are being baked by the sun, causing them to lash out in anger. Meanwhile, John's wife wants to talk. And he can see the reason why written all over her face, literally. But the Martian psychically makes John aware of the violence breaking out across Middleton and uses it as an excuse to avoid the conversation. At the scene of the crime, we learn that a massive fight broke out between seemingly random people, and the Martian identifies the sun as the problem, calling it the white heat of war, and begins trying to fix it. We then learn that Middleton has a large immigrant community, as Camp is once again purposefully not subtle about his left-leaning, political opinions. We then learn of more violence caused by the white heat of war, as John avoids his wife before she finally corners and confronts him. Bridget feels abandoned by John, and like she doesn't know who he is anymore, and is also frustrated by their sudden move to Middleton, which we learned was more serious than initially described, since their friends from DC no longer answer their phone calls, and John refuses to tell her why, making it seem like it's FBI related, like something big happened and they had to move towns, and he just can't say why. So Bridget tells John to leave because she doesn't feel comfortable with a stranger in the house. And while all this is being discussed, the Martian finishes fixing the sun, but as a result, doesn't notice bombers attacking power plants across Middleton, causing a massive blackout. What were your thoughts on issue number 4? Okay.
I really liked issue number 4, and I really liked the way that they centered the interpersonal conflict between Bridget and John, but also made it relevant to the conflict at large with the sun and the heat wave and stuff. And I thought the way of like them using Bridget's temper and like her anger at John and her feelings of abandonment to kind of set up the white hot sun of war, and then be like, oh, it's not just Bridget, it's everybody. And it really makes you like, for a second, it makes you question. It's like, is Bridget confronting him this way because of the white hot sun of war, or because she actually feels this way? And it's like, you can tell there's genuine feelings, but it's hard to suss out like what she actually feels versus what is the white Martian's influence. And I think that's really, really great, because it really, I guess, gives John a reason to like lock in at what's around what's going on at home too, just as much as he is as on the outside, because it's like his family isn't safe. And I'm sure like up until this point he's like, oh yeah, my family's chill because I'm not telling them anything, kind of like Black Lightning in the other history. And I really think that's interesting how they set it up in this book. I really like this one.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. I like the relationship problems between Bridget and John being
they feel realistic.
Yeah, being at the core of everything is part of what makes the story so great. Because it's so wacky in so many different ways, but like you said, you just have that very realistic thing kind of kind of like keeping
Like,
it
it's very
grounded.
sobering.
Yeah.
I really like when they bring in their marital issues because it really sobers the book up a lot because it'll be like very wacky, very like, the Martian having an influence on the fabric of reality, and it's like, wait, none of it kind of sets up this thing. It's like the Martian can change everything almost, and it's like has all this power over the fabric of the universe.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, your own interpersonal conflicts are your responsibility.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that's really cool.
Yeah, for sure. And at the same time, you wonder, like, is this all actually happening, or is it in everyone's heads? Because there's this whole telepathic ability thing that you're wondering, like, is this actually happening? Are they actually like affecting like the world, or is this something that's being projected into people's minds? Exactly. And just the way that it's being and it's just being artistically being shown this way, but it's not actually what it would really look like. It's very interesting.
Very much so.
Moving on to issue number 5. We begin with a woman crushing glass with a rolling pin. A man in a gas mask holding a pack of off-brand Oreos called Chocos, and a man killing a dog. John is investigating these events as people take advantage of the seemingly eternal darkness and power outage placed upon Middleton. Amidst it all, John goes to check on Bridget and Tyler, but she refuses to see him, so he sends the Martian to check on them. We then see what's going on with the lady crushing up glass, as she adds it to a burger patty before she serves it to a customer, but John intervenes and stops the man from eating it. We also see what was up with the man in the gas mask with the Chocos, as he injects them with poison and puts them on store shelves. John manages to stop him, but nearby his wife and son were shopping. And Tyler wanted Chocos, but Bridget said no. But in the scuffle with the poisoner, the poison Chocos were dropped on the ground and Tyler picked up a pack. John continues trying to help people, but is sometimes too late, as we see seemingly a father murder his son, their pet, parrot, and himself, which is horrifying. From there, as he continues to go around trying to help people, he's hit by an ambulance. And the two people who step out of the ambulance are very much not paramedics. And one of them has a circle, a white circle for a head. And they both attack John with a surgical buzzsaw. As all of this is happening, the Martian studies the darkness and discovers its source. Dark side. We then end with someone knocking on the door of John's home, where his wife guards his son with a shotgun. Dark side is, eh? Dark side is. Thoughts?
Dark side is.
This is your first experience.
Crazy reveal. Crazy reveal,
is.
by the way. Crazy reveal. But it was a crazy good reveal. I wasn't mad at it at all. Also, the cover for this one, I think, is my favorite. This issue had my favorite cover of all the ones I've seen so far. I don't know. There's just something about it that really appealed to me.
Could you sit in the chat for Chris?
Yeah. Let me go.
Yeah, I'm intrigued.
But general thoughts on the book while I'm looking for that. I really, 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 really like the way they played the darkness in this one. I thought it was so neat. Like, I like that, of course, with the blotting out of the light comes naturally the darkness, but the way that, like, they don't paint the darkness itself, like this eternal night blackout, as evil, but rather the things that people do hidden under its cover as evil, and like their own dark sides coming out to like impact that eternal darkness. I thought that was a really cool way to play with that like dichotomy between light and dark and like one's own dark side. I thought that was so neat.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I remember reading this and seeing that dark side reveal, which I actually took a screenshot of that. Let me send all the screenshots I took so far, actually, in the chat.
And it's funny because I was so enamored by the story that like screenshots were the last thing on my mind. I'm like, I'm locked in. There's that cover.
Wow.
That amazing cover, isn't it? So cool.
That's great.
But that image of Darkseid was like, I was like, oh my god, Darkseid. And it says bad idea number 0. Throughout the comic, Martian Manhunter will be like, good idea number 345, bad idea number 1047. And then this one, he's like, this is bad idea number 0.
The first one.
Darkseid, which the Absolute Universe is essentially Darkseid fanfiction. It was Darkseid went to a different universe, created the Absolute Universe, and his idea was that he was trying to like remove everything that made all of the greatest heroes great, to like keep them from becoming heroes, and so he could just have this universe to control. But they still ended up becoming heroes anyway, just in different ways. And yeah, it's this is the first time we actually, I think this is the first time we actually get a mention of Darkseid in an Absolute comic.
Really interesting. I didn't know that about the Absolute Universe. Also, this is news to me.
So he's the overall architect of it.
Yes, he is. Moving on to the final issue we'll be covering so far, because it's only going to be 12 issues, because they're ending this book, Chris, not because it's not doing well or because they don't like it, but because apparently they got an offer from DC so big, both the artist and writer, that they decided to stop working on this very successful book that they were enjoying writing to work on that book. And I'm excited to see what that is. In issue number 6, John attempts to fight off his attackers as the dog killer from last issue breaks into his home and attacks his wife and son. Bridget shoots their attacker in the head, but it transforms into a white circle, which is a visual motif that we've seen several times. For the first time, we saw it in issue number 4, where we saw a person with a white head take their head off and put it where the sun was, which calls the white heat of war. Yeah, so he now has a white circle for a head and continues his pursuit while saying that the voice in his head named Bob convinced him to kill more than just animals. Meanwhile, the Martian emerges and defends John. And something I love about this book that we talked about a little bit already is that everything that's happening is essentially just telepathy, which is one of, Martian Manhunter's main powers. But it's displayed in such an artistic way, like the Martian paralyzing one of the attackers by manifesting from John's eyes and shooting a red beam from its one large eye, which I'm not sure if that was one of the images I sent, but let me screenshot that real quick. Once the Martian takes out John's attackers, he sends John to Bridget and Tyler through the white circle head of one of the attackers and out of the white circle head of the dog killer. Once there, he tells Bridget to take Tyler and hide while he fights off the dog killer. Meanwhile, the Martian begins fighting the white Martian. And again, we see what is essentially a telepathic fight displayed visually. The white Martian pulls a city-destroying cancerous tumor from a child's dream, and the green Martian pulls out the cure that a child in the very same apartment building will create decades from now. The white Martian pulls a nuke out of a war-fearing hippie's brain, and the green Martian makes it inert by pulling on the same person's belief in military incompetence. Meanwhile, a crowd of white circle-headed people invade John's home, and he's beginning to be overwhelmed before Bridget comes out to help him, saying, "We're a team." In that moment, John realizes that he's been closing himself off emotionally and doesn't understand why, but decides to try and open up, which unlocks more of the Martian's power, which he uses to influence the minds of the people of Middleton, distracting the white Martian, giving him the chance to land a winning blow. And while that's happening, we see their son Tyler eat one of the poisoned chocos he picked up and starts foaming at the mouth, confirming a fear of A's. But when Bridget and John go to check on him, he seems fine. But the book ends.
Confused me.
Yeah, but the book ends with another Martian vision sequence, which there's an image of it. The very first Martian Manhunter image that's marked with a spoiler, Chris, is an example of what this looked like previously, which is I have the first issue of every Absolute comic physically, and at the end, if you hold up 2 overlapping pages to the light, there'll be 2 overlapping images. And in the digital version of this issue, they decided to actually visualize what that would look like if you own the physical version. And what we see is the overlap of the white Martian's face with Tyler's face, whereas in the first issue, we saw the overlap of John's face with the green Martian's face. And while that is happening, John says, "No more secrets. I want you to know who I really am." And yeah, that's the end.
Which, listen.
That's
I have been saying this since we started reading it, and since they introduced Tyler, I was like, if anything bad happens to Tyler, I'm going to be pissed. Something bad is happening to Tyler. I knew it was coming.
Yeah,
I feel vindicated, but on the same token, I am devastated that I am vindicated. That little boy does not deserve any of the things that are going to happen to him in the next 6 issues of this comic. At all.
Yeah. He's just a
But I
little
do.
divergent boy, and then a white Martian just came and said, perfect candidate.
Right, he's just a little guy. But I will say, I do like the resolution of Bridget and John's marital issues in this, where it's like, it's not a complete solution, but it's the start of a solution. And I do like that, like, him opening up to his wife, to his partner, like, to his other half, is what allows him to get stronger, rather than, like, like, I'm leaving you, so this is your kick in the pants to become more emotionally sensitive. I'm glad it didn't come to that. That makes me happy.
What did you think of the book overall?
I liked it. I liked it a lot. It is making me excited to read the rest because, like, I want to see what happens with Tyler. I want to see how the whole telepathic battles things like evolves. I want to see more of Darkseid because clearly he's going to play a big role in this. Not to say that he doesn't play a big role in the Absolute Universe as a whole, apparently, but like clearly, if they're showing him, he's like very relevant. So I'm excited to see where he comes in. Um, I'm not excited to see John fight his son. I'm definitely not excited about that, but I'm curious. I can't say I'm not. Overall, though, I really, really like this book. I think 4, 5, and 6 have been my favorite so far. I think they've been the strongest to me, both story wise, art wise. Like, I don't know, they just feel really, really good. Felt really, really good to read.
Yeah. How'd you like that
Just good internal.
that abstract battle of like
I
not like actual things, but like concepts, as John
I
describes
thought
it.
it was really, really fun because it felt like a playground fight where it's like, oh, I use a nuke. Oh, well, your nuke's a dud because the military's in. Like, I thought that was really, really fun because it's like telepathy is always painted as this like super serious, super like, like fate of the world ability. But to have it kind of played silly here makes sense because humanity, like, we inherently are rational and silly creatures. We're so unserious. And so to like turn that unseriousness into like a form of combat, I think is really, really fun.
Yes, man. So next, we will be reading the first 8 issues of Absolute Green Lantern. Um, and we're going to start that discussion with issue number 8 because I've been saying it before. That should have been
Mm-hmm.
the first issue. So we're going to, and I'm in my reread, I'm going to start with number 8 and then go back to
I
number 1
think
too.
me too.
So yeah, that'll be a good time. All right. So moving on to TV and film. We're finally here. I'll just start because I have been watching a lot. One Piece, live action on Netflix. I've been watching it. I got involved with that, and it's been a good time. I watched the first season back when it came out. I liked it. One of the better live action anime adaptations, and season 2 is even better so far. I feel like in the first season and the first episode of the second season, the acting has always been a little stilted in some areas. But I feel like the second episode, the acting is just like significantly better from everyone. And I'm like, what happened? Like the acting just got like leaps and bounds better in the second episode alone. It
Good.
was crazy. Like the acting hasn't been bad, but there's just been moments where it's been strange. But the second episode, the acting all around from everyone, even some people who usually gave some weird performances, were great. Um, but I'll talk more about it once we get to the review section. What have you been watching?
Not a couple things for me. I've been watching a lot of Chopped recently. I don't know what it is about daytime like cooking television for me, but it's my vice. So a lot of Chopped, a lot of there's a show we've been watching, a lot of nature documentaries, honestly, which is really, really funny. But that's what's on in the office a lot of the time, so shrug. But I am also still, me and my friend are still watching Deep Space Nine. We made it to season 2, and so far, I've been enjoying season 2 a lot more than I enjoyed season 1. Like, don't get me wrong, season 1 of Deep Space Nine was pretty good, a lot better than I remember it being. But season 2 has been a banger after banger so far. There was a really good episode that touched on like the politics of war orphans and like what that's like, what it's like to be a war orphan raised by like the a war orphan of the oppressing race being raised by the race, like parents of the race they oppressed, and what self-loathing and stuff comes from that. There was like talks of abuse and how that affects a child, and like by the end of the episode there were implications that this kid should never have been an orphan to begin with. And it's amazing. I can't recommend Deep Space Nine enough, honestly. And I kind of the fact that I used to shit on it is so funny to me because it's actually really good. But that's been my big thing.
How about you, Christian?
Yeah. In regards to TV, me and my partner finally wrapped that short series on Netflix called His and Hers. Um, and yeah, it I I give it high marks, honestly. Um, don't know if I should give spoilers or not, but
I oh I don't know. I don't know how you feel. I don't mind.
I don't mind either.
okay. Bet. All right. So the premise is it's like a like just kind of like small town type vibe, and yeah, a string of murders happens in a small town to like girls who were a part of a friend group, and Tessa Thompson was one of these girls. She's also basically the black girl in this friend group, which is also like kind of a subtle thing. They don't mention that a ton, but yeah, in this town, her mom is also a cleaning lady and cleans in a lot of these girls at this boarding schools or like at this private schools houses. And yeah, long story short, these string of murders were actually perpetrated by Tessa Thompson's mom, and she was the serial killer. Crazy
I
twist.
think I
Like
got
it's a
Master
wild.
Chief in this show.
Wait, what's up?
So they got Master Chief in the show. Pablo Schreiber. He played Master Chief in live action Halo series on
Oh,
Paramount Plus.
I did not know that. But yeah, this is a, it's one of those shows where the ending made it 10 times better. And it went from being just a kind of run of the mill, not run of the mill, but just your like a normal, just who done it type of show. And it turned into something else. And yeah, it was just a very interesting story. Very interesting story. Um, Other than that, in regards to movies, saw a film in theaters on Friday, and it is Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie. Um, yeah, one of our coworkers, D, mentioned, and it was one of the films that I've been wanting to see for the longest. It's made by Matt Johnson, who directed the film Blackberry, and Nirvana, the band, the show was a web series that was on like early YouTube, and I would say it's very adjacent to like Flight of the Conchords, where it's like musical comedy, kind of very irreverent. It was shot with a very handheld style, like just a very early YouTube sketch type show. Then it became a show on Viceland. Now it's a movie, so it's Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie, and it's a time travel comedy. It's a time travel comedy, and they go back to 2008, and they find out they're in 2008 because the Black Eyed Peas are playing on the radio, and across the street there's a movie theater that's showing The Hangover.
Hilarious.
The
It
distant past.
Yeah, it's just like just a very good time travel film that just straight up rips off, like they acknowledge that they're ripping off the beats of Back to the Future. And they acknowledge it. It's like, yeah, this film is a fair use nightmare. It's one of those movies that reminds you that you can really do whatever you want for real. And it's just absolutely nuts in the best possible way. So yeah, Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie. You don't even have to watch the web series or anything like that. It's just a great oddball comedy, just very good. And yeah, I saw it at the Charles. had a pretty limited run, but yeah, the fact that they got this film across the finish line is just, it's good. Like I want to show it to every person possible, just to just show them what comedy can be and what film can be, because it is very out there, but in a very good way.
It sounds like it. I love an oddball movie that knows exactly what it is and doesn't put up any pretense of being anything else.
Yeah,
Those are usually like always really, really fun.
yeah, like just a very very fun film. Yes, Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie.
Sounds cool. Sounds cool. Unfortunately, I'm we talked about this very briefly. I'm not into specifically comedy movies. I just I don't know, man. I'm not like I don't have nothing against them. I don't mind watching them every now and again, but like it's never something I actively go out my way to watch.
Hmm. Yeah, it's. I would give this one a try. 'Cause it's not like pause for laughter type comedy. It's something else. Like it's very, even just from a craft standpoint, I feel like you would dig it because they're doing a lot of just very unique camera stuff here. I don't even know where to start with it. It's, as a film, like it is a well made movie. It just also happens to be just mad funny. It's just, yeah. It's also, it's unfortunate. Just the comedy in theaters. It's just not that many of them.
Yeah.
Uh, it's just every now and then there will be a comedy that gets a theatrical run, but Amazon Prime and Netflix and Hulu has kind of become the stop for where comedies go
Yeah. I
to
think
get
I kind of
100,000 views.
yeah, I think
Yeah,
yeah, people just I think people don't really care to go to movies to watch comedies like that anymore.
which is just crazy because like it would be Beverly Hills Cop number one in the movies. Like it would be like it was like Rush Hour. It was just comedies doing gangbusters.
For me,
But
for me, I get it. It's a combination of multiple things: price and like what you get from a movie theater experience. Like a group of people watching something and laughing, it can be a good time. Could also be annoying. Things like because ticket prices are just so much more expensive. It's like if I'm gonna go to the movie, I'm gonna go see something that like I gotta see this on a big screen. And like I feel like for most people, comedies aren't that. They aren't a thing that's like, oh yeah, this has to be seen on this big beautiful screen.
yeah, I know for sure. Yeah, it's like people save the theater is for the event. Yeah, and I wonder if it'll ever get to a point where comedy will be an event thing again. But yeah, it's just like it's just a different time now because like superhero films and like just big budget box office films are the meta right now for theaters.
Yeah, moving into some trailers and news. I only have one thing, and that is the latest trailer for the Super Mario Galaxy movie. Did you guys manage to check that out?
I did, and it is. I wasn't excited before. I'm a little excited now.
Yeah.
I'm kind of mad about it. Not
So
really,
yeah,
but
we got a direct specifically for it once again that was like 5 seconds long, hosted by of course Miyamoto and the head of Illumination, but also some of the leads from the first movie, with the addition of two new actors to the series, Benny Safdie and Brie Larson, who are playing Bowser Jr. and Rosalina respectively. We also got some new cast reveals. Luis Guzman is playing Wart. Issa Rae is playing Queen Bee, and Donald Glover is voicing Yoshi. How is that going to
which
work,
is
and why?
fascinating to me. But I feel like they'll be able to pull it off.
Because in
I
the
don't know
first
how.
trailer, we praised them not giving Yoshi a voice actor and having it just be Yoshi. Now I'm about to have to take that back, depending on how they do this. It better be for like a single joke.
That's what I feel like it's gonna be. It's gonna be like a single joke or like a reoccurring joke that comes up not too frequently.
'Cause
Those are the only two ways you could do it and do it successfully.
I
No
don't,
What
thanks.
I don't need a Don Cheadle as Daffy Duck and DuckTales situation, okay?
Yeah.
I forgot about that. It might they they might be like dead serious and just pull a Groot situation and just make him say Yoshi just 50
That
million.
would be
Low
funny.
key,
That
just
would low key be
they
funny.
paying Vin Diesel millions to just say "I am Groot, we are Groot," and one time, which is my favorite scene. Let me just talk about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 real quick. My favorite scene in probably any Marvel movie is at the end of the movie. Have you seen Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 yet?
No,
I don't
but you can tell me. I don't care about.
So, like,
spoilers.
at the end of the movie, we hear Groot speak. He says a
Oh.
sentence. He says, "I love you guys." And here's why it hits.
Aw.
So you have Gamora in this movie, right? Gamora died in Infinity War, so
Yeah.
that Thanos could get one of the Infinity Stones, the Soul Stone, I believe.
Right.
But a version of her from a different timeline was brought into the main universe. So she's in this movie, but it's not the same Gamora because this is a version of Gamora before she met the Guardians, so it's a different person. And of course, she had that relationship with Star Lord, and he's trying to
Right.
rekindle that, but it's not working. She doesn't want him.
Yeah.
End of the movie, he kind of eventually moves on and goes like, "You're a different person. I understand that," but also, she was trying to avoid them and like didn't want to be part of the Guardians, but then eventually she does in the movie with her being, part of the family again, just in a different way as a different person, and
Right.
the whole movie. Groot's talking, in the first movie, nobody can understand Groot. In the second movie, some people can understand Groot. In the third movie, all the members of the Guardians, they understand Groot. But Gamora, no longer a Guardian, still doesn't understand Groot. So
Oh.
at the end of the movie, Groot just casually walks up to her, says, "I am Groot." And then she responds as if she heard him and then stops and pauses and goes, she doesn't say it, but you can see the look on her face is like, "Oh, I understood what he just said. That's weird."
Right.
And then at the end, we have Groot. We hear him. Groot says, "I love you guys." And it's in that moment that you realize the people who can understand Groot are the people that he loves and the people that are close to him. And it's meant to be representative of the fact that after these 3 movies together, we've become part of the family. I love
so sweet.
that so much. God damn it, I love Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's a great narrative.
Damn. I might have to watch that movie.
You gotta watch it. It's a good movie. Second movie's still my favorite, but third movie's a close second.
Noted.
Yeah. Got sidetracked. We're talking about Super Mario Galaxy. You know who Benny Safdie is, Chris?
Yes, and that's why it's like so random.
Yeah. Because,
Right.
I don't think you were on the podcast when we talked about it before. Like, yeah, it's so random that Benny Safdie, was he both writer and director? One of 2 directors, him and his brother, on Uncut Gems.
Yeah.
And when they announced that it was him, I was like, I don't know who the hell this is. And I looked him up and I was like, oh, he's voicing Bowser Jr.? But granted, he sounds good.
He does.
The voice does fit.
But at the same time, why?
Yeah, why him specifically? Like, was he like?
He must have put some money into this movie. He must have invested.
Or that audition tape went crazy.
Yeah, or that audition tape went crazy.
Y'all saying Dijon? You saying he pulled a Jared Leto with Tron?
Yeah, that man was like, "I like
Wait,
Mario."
is that really what happened with Tron?
Oh yeah, he helped get that movie off the ground.
Yeah,
Ooh, yikes.
But yeah, this trailer looked good. In the trailer itself, we see Peach's castle being abducted by a UFO, and dropped on an alien planet, while Bowser Jr. rescues his father and brings him back to his kingdom. And then we, get a compilation of a bunch of action scenes. Yeah, like you said, it looks good. I've been excited for the movie. Me and A are people who like enjoyed the movie, thought it was fun, but like not as good as it could be. Like, I think we all might have talked about it on the podcast before. Like, it could have been like, just animated movies in general don't have the same heart that they used to. I hate to be that guy, but back in our day, animated movies used to have heart. They used to have a message. Now they just feel like mindless slop. They don't feel like they don't got a message. They don't feel as heartfelt anymore. They don't, feel like you could watch it later as an adult and then pick up on things that you didn't before. Like, there's nothing in this movie that I'm like, if I rewatch it, I'm gonna notice some adult themes and like not adult themes in a sense of like sex and drugs, but like just themes and thought processes that you only get from an adult. Then you only notice once you're an adult.
Right. It's like, it feels like animated movies nowadays are like, how much stimulation can we cram into an hour and 40 minutes so we can keep kids entertained and out of our faces, which kind of makes me sad because they deserve better.
You could entertain them and give them a good, meaningful story that they're going to look back on and go, man, I learned a lot from that.
It's not hard.
It really isn't. And it's like the kids deserve better and the adults deserve better. Like, yeah, Yeah, I feel like it's kind of like, oh, they don't know any better. Like, and I feel like that era of thinking of like, oh, they don't know any better. Let's give them like, it's like you have Wagyu, but then you also have like a lesser cut of steak. But you're like, we're gonna call this Wagyu and give them the lesser cut because they won't know the difference regardless.
Right.
I feel
It's
like, yeah,
frustrating.
treating animation that way or kids animation that way is so just dangerous to me. And it's just not good art. It's not good food. It's not good for the soul. It's just like they won't tell the difference. We're just gonna have characters just do things and emote and scream and have jokes, but without any just like narrative justification. Yeah, thinking through the mindset of the kids won't know any better. It just kind of ruins the art because also I think the kids know more than we think we do. So I think we do need to give them better food.
Yeah, for sure. It's just it's unfortunate. Hopefully this is better than that. Hopefully they use a lot less licensed music, which was the dumbest
Really, for
fucking
sure.
thing they could.
Yeah.
I feel like worse than what we just talked about was them using so much licensed music. You have this video game franchise that is known for having some of the greatest and most, not even just great, because there's some music that I like better than Mario music, but easily the most iconic video game music of all time, and you instead decide to use Take On Me in a scene that
Uh,
should have had the Donkey Kong Country theme playing when they first entered the Kong Islands. Like, what were they thinking?
they use
That's Illumination. I feel like that's all Illumination's doing.
yeah.
And
It's
I
like
hope Nintendo cracks down and is like, listen, you have to use our music.
Especially
Or
since
else.
most adaptations they don't even get the chance to use music from video games because they can't afford to.
Right.
But here they can. They can afford to get the licenses for those music to use them in the movie. So use it. It's unfortunate. But to wrap things up in the film section, I did want to talk more about One Piece live action. Um, because, like I said, the acting's a lot better in this season, but also something that continues to be great is the set designs and costume designs. It's awesome. Everything looks like what you imagine it would look like in live action, and it's real cool while also being very one to one. It's great, and the action is also really good. CGI stellar. I can only imagine what the budget for this was. It must be something crazy, but it's One Piece, so they they probably got it. They probably got it. I'm sure.
They
Um,
definitely got it.
yeah,
How long that manga's been going on?
then yeah, you can tell there's a lot of money put behind this, and something I love that they're doing that we're probably going to see from the One Piece remake, which might be canceled. I can't remember what's going on with that, but I think there's been some complications with that in the background. But what they're doing is there's a lot of, in hindsight, they're setting up things that won't pay off for a while, and it's cool to see them take advantage of that future knowledge. You know, with the manga being so far ahead of them, there are things that, like the last episode I watched in both the live action and animation, very very coincidentally, um, the episode that I left or that I watched yesterday for One Piece just so happened to be the exact same like chapters that they're covering in the live action. So after I watched the episode
Oh
in anime, I
wow.
decided to watch episode 2 of the live action because I was like, oh, they're on this part right now. It was really cool to see how different it is because I guess this isn't anything major, but there's they're going to the Grand Line, and they have to do that. They have to go over the Red Line, and the Red Line is just uh, mountains that go all the way around the Earth in a circle. So the only way to
That's
get to
crazy.
the Grand Line is to go up Reverse Mountain, which is this mountain of water where, due to some scientific bullshit of pressure, the water flows up. So you have to go up it, and the scene of them going up it in live action was awesome. I feel like they did a really good job of making it low key making it way more tense than it was in the anime and manga. Because it felt more real because we see real people having to man a ship and like pull ropes and set sails, and like it felt like, oh, they might die. It was really cool. And then on the other side there's just gigantic, like 10 times bigger than the biggest whale in real life whale, with a bunch of scars on its head that is blocking the path. and it's just I, I'm sorry, I forgot where I was going with it. I remember now. Essentially, the change that they make is in the anime and the manga, the inside of the whale has been carved out. He's not dead, but like there's like a hatch that goes into the whale, and there's this person living inside the whale. And the reason he built this like hatch inside of the whale is so that he could administer medicines to the whale to stop the whale from hurting itself, because it's banging its head against the red line, because it's waiting for its friends to come back that said they would come back 50 years ago, and they haven't come back. In the live action, he just shoots a giant needle at it from a cannon, which looks really cool. The visual effects on there. But the inside of the whale, he didn't carve it out. But they do make a joke about it, saying like, "Oh, it's like there's so much space inside of him, you could build a house in there." But they didn't do that, which
That's
is
hilarious.
interesting. But it didn't feel like a disservice, or like, "Oh, why the fuck didn't they do that?" It kind of was just different, and like different in a way that wasn't bad or good. It's just different. They just decided to do that scene differently, but it still hit just the same. And honestly, maybe a little bit harder, because I low-key like how Luffy dealt with the situation more. Where in the anime he just fought Laboon, and in the live action he sung, because Laboon likes music, and the crew that he was a part of before were like a crew of musicians. And the way he handled the situation was he sung the song that they would always sing, um, and it was a good scene. Yeah, it was.
That sounds like a banger. I might have to hop back on
Yeah, because
the
I know
live
you
action.
you watched the first season. I think you should definitely
I
check out
did,
the
or
second
part of the first season. I didn't
season.
finish it. I
Yeah.
need to.
It also feels like they're gonna do more justice for certain characters, more so in the live action than the animated version, or the manga even, because of that hindsight once again. There's a character named Tashigi, who's a marine, who is a swordswoman who wants to take all of the like some of the like high grade swords that pirates have. She wants to take it from them, because she doesn't think those bad people should have those nice swords. Um, and she has a rivalry with Zoro, who is of course the resident swordsman of the Straw Hats, and my personal favorite character. Uh, but things get complicated for Zoro, because she looks exactly like his childhood friend and rival Kuina, who died of just a freak accident when they were younger. And the thing about Kuina is that she was the better swordsman than Zoro, but she was always afraid that Zoro would become a better swordsman, because he's a boy and he would get taller and stronger and longer limbs and all that jazz. And she was afraid that like this was her peak, and she was never going to be better than him once he starts to grow bigger. And Tashiki also has that fear, and the story always felt like it was going to like try and prove that wrong and be like gender doesn't matter when it comes to sword skill, but it has yet to do that. And Loki, every time she shows up, she just gets her ass beat. And I hope, and it seems like they're gonna like do more with that character. They're gonna like actually have her grow and maybe even
I hope
become
so.
a proper rival to Zoro. And who
That'd
I
be
mean,
nice.
Oda has said that the book is close to ending, so I don't know if they have enough time to actually resolve that plot line in the manga. But in the anime, they could probably do it justice. Oh, excuse me, the live action. And maybe even the remake. Who knows? But yeah, I'm liking this a lot. It's good. It's good. But I don't want to spoil this part. But a character that eventually joins the Straw Hat crew later down the line is shown here a lot earlier than he is in the manga, because it was I don't know if it was always planned. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But it's not a retcon as much as a revelation of that character being connected to a situation that happened way earlier in the series, but this character doesn't show up till like way later. So that's cool that they actually had that character show up here, because technically they would have been here if Oda knew that he was going to do that the entire time. Moving on to video games. So, what have you been playing, Ayera?
It's been light for me for video games. I've been doing a lot of watching, doing a lot of reading, not a lot of playing. Still steadily making my way through Metaphor ReFantazio. I haven't played in a minute, mostly because, like I said, I've gotten to the second half of the game, and I'm grinding out, like, it's like that weird in-between time in an Atlas game where it's like, there's not a particular deadline you need to meet, but you do have limited days to, like, prepare for something. And that's been pretty nerve-wracking, so I've been, like, playing it very, very on and off. Still really deep into Terraria, and have been enjoying that. And then I've been getting in my Tetris bag recently. Me, and my friends in our Discord have regular Tetris tournaments, and I'm very rusty, but I'm getting better. I'm getting better.
I love me some Tetris. I've been wanting to check out Tetris Effect. There's like Tetris, but with like EDM.
Oh, I have Tetris Effect. It's good. I like that game.
I want to check that out.
I think you should.
Anything else?
Nope, that's it for me.
I did want to ask, have you played any more Hades 2?
I haven't, and I need to. Yeah. It's just I haven't found the time.
I need to hop back into it too. I was about to say the game, but I was gonna hop into, but I'm gonna save that for later.
Okay.
Still playing Marvel Rivals. Requiem had me distracted for a while, so I hadn't been playing it. But now that Requiem's done, been playing Marvel Rivals. Also been replaying Requiem because that's how I work. I beat Resident Evil game. I play Resident Evil game again. And I'm absolutely running through this game because now that I've played it once, it's downloaded. I know everything. I'm going to talk about Metroid Prime 4 longer later because I finally finished it.
Okay. I remembered something else. My girlfriend has been playing Soul Calibur 3 for me.
Oh, that's cool.
Playing through all the story modes. What a fascinating game.
Soul Calibur's interesting.
It's my first experience with the Soul Calibur series, period. And I've been really enjoying it. It's just such an interesting game, such an interesting premise.
Did you know Soul Calibur and Tekken share a single character?
I did not.
Yoshimitsu.
What character?
Yeah,
oh, wow. Because I knew Link was in Soul Calibur. Which one? I don't remember.
The GameCube.
I know he's in. Got you. And 2B is in Soul Calibur 4, I believe.
6. Was 6 the last?
6.
Was it on? Was
I
it
know it was more
on
recent.
On GameCube? Was it? I forget which one it was, but was it? There was one where like. I don't know. I think it was the same one that Link was in, where Link was on GameCube and like Darth Vader was on like PlayStation or Xbox, and Yoda was on one of them.
Yep, it is Soul Calibur for the GameCube, Soul Calibur 2. And it got re-released for Switch Online. Yeah. That's a surprise.
Maybe had some weird characters in
there. Yeah. I think Geralt was in. Geralt and 2B were the characters for Soul Calibur 6.
Got you. Which is fascinating.
They got Kratos. You remember when they added Kratos to Mortal Kombat 9?
I do remember that.
I own that. I love that game. Now they need to do stuff like that again. They don't do stuff like that anymore. They need to do that more. Like next Mortal Kombat, put Kratos in the next Mortal Kombat and put like Master Chief in the Xbox version. Well, Xbox might not exist by the time we get the next Mortal Kombat. So I don't know about that one. But yeah, put Samus in the Switch version. But I did want to talk about one game and kind of transition into what Chris has been playing in the process, and that is Cairn, because we're both playing Cairn. I did hop back into Cairn a little bit last night, but I didn't get far because I got annoyed. I'm in a cave. And in this cave, there is like a nearly impossible way to climb wall. Like I tried different routes and I fell, and I'm like, I got to figure this out. But also the walls, the material of the walls is too tough for me to place a python. So I have to just free climb it. I just have to free climb it. And it's already a tough wall to climb. So I'm trying to like take it slow and like figure it out. And I just was like, I need to stop. I can't do this right now. But Cairn's a good time. And this is optional. This isn't a necessary wall to climb. I feel like I have to do it.
Yeah, just at this point, it's like I must complete this.
This is a completely optional wall. I do not have to climb this wall.
It's been a bit since I've played it, but I wasn't expecting the survival aspect to be as intense as it is. Like, it's very much so a survival game.
I love that they give you the option to turn it off if you want to.
Oh, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
But I do think it adds something to the experience and makes the climbing that much better. So and the survival mechanics aren't bad.
Yeah,
they're not like
they're fine.
Yeah, they're like genuinely well thought out.
I'm currently like super stocked up.
Yeah. Like, and it's fun just crafting recipes. Like it's like a full-on system, and yeah, it's like when you're not stocked up, it can be scary to play because you it can be it's intense.
Especially if you don't got a python and you pass out, it's up. It's over.
Yeah,
You just
exactly.
fall off the mountain and you just end up one of the many bodies on that mountain.
Right, exactly. And like if you're hungry, then it's just and stamina and the way that the different meters interact with each other. It's very intense. So yeah, it's been a very good, fun playthrough. Um, but yeah, right now in regards to games, it's really just been Balatro, honestly. Like I've been just going through the different decks, um, and yeah, just that's really been what I've been doing for the most part is just trying to increase the stakes. I've got through a lot of them, but yeah, I'm just working on getting the different colored stakes in that. Um, yeah, and
I got so close to beating my first like like final boss fight and choked. It was unfortunate.
It's always like the worst feeling in the world when, like, you have a really really good run and you chud out because you didn't read the boss line. It's happened to me so many times, and I think it will continue to happen to me until I stop playing Balatro completely.
Which will be
same.
never.
Oh, of course.
Oh, sure.
Sometimes, I'm just having a good time, just chilling, watch TV, and then just in like the back of like my skull at the bottom, the theme song for Balatro will start ringing. And I'm like, you can't do this right now. You can't do this to me right now, Lord. Leave,
It's a call
please.
to
Leave me
action.
be. Like the goddamn Green Goblin mask.
Right.
Right.
You guys see those ads with I forget the name of the actor, but I know he voices the main character in Final Fantasy 16, like dressed as the clown from Balatro.
Yes, I love those. They're my
Ben
favorite.
Starr, that's his name, Ben Starr. Yeah, those ads are hilarious. But yeah, that's how you've been playing.
Yeah, that's really been it. Yeah, I haven't. My PS5 is currently unplugged right now. Yeah, it's been a bit. Um,
Be like that sometimes.
yeah, but yeah, it's mainly been Balatro. Um, and then I do plan on getting back into Karen and also just finishing my Watch Dogs 2 run through. So
Cool.
yeah, that's kind of the main two things for me right now. And I need to finish Ghost of Yote.
Yeah, it's a good game. Um, they added the Legends mode to Ghost of Yotei now.
Okay.
Maybe we have to hop on that together one day. So mostly we got news today, starting with Resident Evil Requiem story DLC being in development. This is coming from Marcus Stewart at Game Informer. Requiem director Koshi Nakanishi appeared in a short video posted to social media, thanking fans for supporting the game and announcing that it has already sold over 5 million copies since launching less than 2 weeks ago. It sold like around 5 million, I think in like 5 days, which is makes it the fastest selling like Resident Evil ever. Um, and yeah, he then shares that additional performance patches and updates are on the way, including a photo mode and some unspecific minigame sometime in May. The biggest news was the announcement that additional story content was currently in production. Nakanishi doesn't reveal any details, only stating it will delve deeper into the world of Requiem, and says the DLC will take some time to come to fruition, meaning that it's probably not coming until next year, which makes sense with how some of the DLC has been spaced out before. Uh, so Resident Evil games since 7 have had some pretty substantial DLC packs. 7 itself had a huge slew of DLC, both story and additional game modes. The 2 remake had a few DLC game modes. 3 was an anomaly in a lot of ways, which includes not having DLC. 8 had story DLC and some mercenaries mode DLC. The 4 remake had an incredible story DLC with the Separate Ways DLC replays Ada Wong. And then it added mercenary modes. And if you don't know what Mercenaries puts you in an arena based around one of the levels from the game against a horde of enemies. And I expect them to add that to Requiem, especially for the Leon sections. And but I'm of course more interested in story DLC. I doubt it'll be Chris focused because I feel like they're saving him for the next game. But maybe it is. Who knows? There's also a character from the DLC of Resident Evil 2 that appears in the main story of Resident Evil Requiem, who could end up being the focus of a story DLC. The possibilities are just endless. But I've talked about it before, but the rumor has it is that the next game will be a Code Veronica remake, which
Ooh.
would probably come out next year if I had to guess. So maybe we'll get DLC and Code Veronica next year. And I'm thinking maybe after a Code Veronica remake, we then get a 5 remake because those games tie directly into each other, and then we get 10. And if they do it that way, that means that Chris will 100% be the main character of Resident Evil 10. But also maybe also Claire, because Claire is the main character of Code Veronica. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I'm excited for that.
Indeed.
But unfortunately, we got to get into some more of that good old sad gaming industry news. EA lays off staff across all Battlefield studios following record-breaking Battlefield 6 launch. Battlefield 6 was the best-selling game in the US in 2025. This is coming from Rebecca Valentine at IGN. EA, or I'm going to skip that, actually. No. EA has laid off an unknown number of individuals from across its Battlefield teams, including workers at Criterion, DICE, Ripple Effect, and Motive Studios. IGN understands. And I'm going to read this whole article because it's short. Individuals are being informed that the layoffs are taking place as part of a realignment across the Battlefield studios, as the team continues its ongoing live service support for Battlefield 6 following launch. All 4 studios will remain operational, though the layoffs seem to be impacting a variety of teams across multiple studios and offices. IGN asked EA for comment on total number and types of roles impacted, as well as for the specific reasons for the layoffs. An EA spokesperson told IGN, "We've made select changes within our Battlefield organization to better align our teams around what matters most to our community. Battlefield remains one of the biggest priorities, and we're continuing to invest in the franchise, guided by player feedback and insight from Battlefield Labs." They always say bullshit like that when they lay off a bunch of people.
Right. Oh, we're focused and committed on making the game the best it can be. How are you going to do that with no fucking developers?
Battlefield 6 was the best-selling game of 2025 in the United States. It sold a record-shattering 7 million copies in 3 days, and was the best launch ever for a game in the franchise. While its campaign received a bit of a mixed response from critics, including IGN, they gave the multiplayer an 8 out of 10 at launch. But months after Battlefield 6's launch, the game has begun to struggle from patch to patch, with fans criticizing a number of updates due to reasons ranging from cosmetics to movements, and 3 months in, Steam reviews have fallen to mixed from mixed to mostly positive. Major issues reported include criticism of heavy monetization, use of generative AI for in-game cosmetics, and fewer content updates than expected. It's probably why they're starting to lay people off, so they could use more AI. The criticism was heavy enough that the teams delayed the start of Season 2 to allow more time to implement community feedback. The concurrence dropped on Steam from around 700,000 peak to now 67,000 peak. And yeah, the Steam numbers just don't paint. They don't paint the whole picture of the game's popularity or its success, because you also have Xbox and PlayStation, and who knows, maybe they'll release a Switch version at some point. But they do give a sense of where the game is at. And in Battlefield 6's case, the drop off may have been more dramatic than EA has expected. Meanwhile, the free-to-play Battlefield Battle Royale mode, RedSec, has had problems of its own, with mostly negative Steam user reviews rating for most posts, or for recent posts. Yeah. By the way, this layoff is coming after the unexpected death of Battlefield franchise head Vince Zampella in a car accident.
Ooh, so I feel like they've been waiting to do this, which is really shitty.
And this is also
really shitty,
as they're being prepared to be acquired by an investor group composed of Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, which for approximately $55 billion. So it hasn't closed yet, but this is crazy. This is wild.
Very insane.
So many industries this is going on with.
So many. Like it's wild. Especially they're coming from the entertainment industry does not give a damn, despite the fact that they need the creatives to make the work. They feel comfortable destroying their livelihoods on a regular basis. Now we got another one that's interesting. Because it's just interesting. Let me read it. So Sony is being hit with a 2.67 billion lawsuit over alleged monopoly in digital game sales. UK class action lawsuit is challenging Sony's alleged monopoly over digital game sales. This is coming from Austin, Manchester at Polygon. And once again, I'm just going to read this whole article because it's kind of short. A tribunal in the UK is hearing a class action lawsuit against Sony for monopolizing digital game sales via its PlayStation Store. The BBC has reported. First filed in 2022 by consumer rights advocate Alex Neil, the lawsuit argues that PlayStation owners have faced excessive and unfair charges via Sony's closed ecosystem. As it stands now, the only storefront available on PlayStation consoles is Sony's, which, you know, when you read this article initially, you go, well, no shit.
Right.
But some great things get brought up, but then others where you're like, what is this? The result is that Sony can and does set the retail prices of all such content itself without facing any retail competition for digital content. The lawsuit's representative, Robert Palmer, KC, said it allows it to obtain monopoly profits from digital distributions, setting retail prices at what it refers to as its target margin of an excessive and unfair 30% above the level of the digital wholesale prices. The lawsuit is seeking $2 billion on behalf of an estimated 12.2 million users, which would equate to 162, or that's pounds, but $216 per person. UK PlayStation users who have purchased the game from the PlayStation Store over roughly the past decade are eligible. Sony argued that adding third-party storefronts would pose a security risk, but did not specify how. I feel like they could come with a better argument than that. It also argued that the sale of digital games helps subsidize. Now, this is the better argument. Helps subsidize low-margin hardware sales. The current generation of consoles has certainly prioritized a digital-focused approach. And the launch of the PlayStation 5 came in two models, one with a disc drive and one without. When PlayStation 5 Pro launched a few years later, it was exclusively digitally only, with an external disc drive being able to be purchased separately. It's not known how many of the 92 million PS5 Sony has shipped are digital only, but the sales of physical games have been steadily falling for years. I would just stop there. Actually, no, one last thing I'd like to mention that is kind of like tangential of a similar situation I had before, where there was a similar thing with Apple at one point, where the European Union made it to where iPhone users can legally download apps from third-party marketplaces outside of Apple's official App Store. And in both cases, you're like, well, why shouldn't PlayStation be able to only let you sell games on the PlayStation Store? It's a PlayStation. If you wanted to buy games on something that's not a PlayStation, you wouldn't fucking have a PlayStation. So it's like, what is this? What are you arguing? But at the same time, it's like this would open the door for potentially like Steam and like Epic adding their storefronts to the PlayStation, which is interesting. And maybe you being able to get a lot of games for a lot cheaper, which is, again, that's a positive. That's interesting. Very but then there's the thing that they say, which I said was the much better argument, which is they bank on making back their money from console manufacturing via software sales, not console sales. They never make their money back via the selling of the hardware. They make their money back from selling software. And part of that is, you know, how much money they make from selling these games digitally. And if they weren't to make as much money from those purchases, then they would probably just increase the price of the box because they need to make more money from it. Because, like, as it is now, essentially it would be that, let's say people could buy games on Steam, on PlayStation. PlayStation would make they would make, I don't know the like legality around it specifically, but it's potentially make nothing from the sale of other games on their console. Instead, the only money they would make is from the console being sold. If everybody then goes, okay, well, I'm going to buy the PlayStation, but I'm going to buy all the games from the Steam storefront, where PlayStation doesn't make money from that, or they make significantly less money from that than they would from their storefront. And it's like that. I feel like that's going to hurt us in the long run. It's a very complicated situation.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like not as black and white as it initially seems.
Right.
Very, very, very weird. But if you guys don't have anything else to say about that, we're gonna wrap this up with my review of Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. You know, last episode I talked about how it annoyed the hell out of me because the end, the second to last mission is a collectathon of these green crystals in the overly
Yeah.
gigantic desert, and it's annoying as hell. It was grueling, but I did it, and then I made it to the last level, and here we are. So nobody wants an open world Metroid. So I do think that this was a good compromise, which is having this hub area be open world, but then have traditional levels that are connected via that hub world. I just think that the execution was extremely flawed. Because there's just nothing to do in the desert. And like I said, it's way too big. That, plus there's no fast travel. If there was fast travel, I'd be a lot less annoyed, but there isn't. Like I said, I do think that it's a good idea, and I hope that they build on it in the next game rather than deciding that, oh, people hate it, so we'll never do it again. The levels themselves, on the other hand, while fun, they're a bit too linear for being, in a game franchise that is one half of the name of a franchise or a genre that is notoriously non-linear in Metroidvanias. I hope that they incorporate more 3D Metroidvania elements in the individual levels in the future. And I feel a similar way about the combat. It's fun, but could be much better. It relies too much on auto-targeting, and the basic enemies are super repetitive and boring to fight. I think that a Doom-style enemy targeting would work well in the Prime games. At least as like a toggleable option in the menus and the settings. Since Doom also has little to no like aiming down sights. That plus more enemy variety, I think would make the game much better. As well as like better just enemy encounter design as a whole. Where the combat sings though is during boss fights, because they force you to use your whole arsenal in very interesting ways. And I wish that individual like regular enemy encounters did the exact same thing. Overall, I enjoyed the game. And a lot of the glaring issues I have likely comes from the fact that the game was passed from dev to dev. And hopefully that doesn't happen with the next game. And that results in a better experience. If I had to like put a number to it, I'd probably give it like a 3 out of 5. I go out of 5. Because it's like, no, I give it a 3.5 because it's above middling, but just barely, because it could be a 4 if those annoyances weren't there. If that open world wasn't there, I think I'd give it a 4.
That's always frustrating.
If it wasn't that open world section and the crystal collecting, I'd probably give it a 4. But as it is, it's 3.5. But yeah,
so actually the open world hub design decision just was so half baked.
Yeah, but yeah, that is all I have. If you guys don't have anything else,
Nope.
Oh, that's
all
it.
right. You can find all of our ads in the link in the description. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel if you want to see more storytelling content, and to click the notification bell so that you're notified when we post. Peace.
See ya.
See y'all.